And it's another great morning, another good Sunday, another good, beautiful, lovely weathered Sunday morning. And you have three wonderful corners to this Speaker's Corner here to bring you the news, the things that we care about, the things we want to talk about. And I shall introduce those people to you this morning. From our most southerly desk, Michelle Lynch. Say good morning, and from Gainesville, Florida.
Good morning, and go Gators. We've got an influx of students in the Gainesville area coming in for a new year of school.
Ruh-roh.
All the fresh money when everybody buys their brand new Dell computers, like that kid that goes, dude, just buy a Dell, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy? And
yeah,
everybody comes in with their new Trapper Keepers.
He got arrested for buying weed in Washington Square.
What?
That's the place to
that introduces one of our currently our most westerly of hosts, which is Thom Holmes. Say good morning, Thom.
Good morning, everyone.
And what is that new scope that I see behind you? I can see through the walls, and there's something beautiful and western about it.
Scope?
I can see through the walls.
I can see through. I am in lovely Benicia, California, which is in the Greater Bay Area. I've been spending a few days in yes.
Is it green there, or is it desolate desert there?
It's summer, so it's always brown. I mean, drought or no drought, it's always brown in the summers.
Oh, okay.
Their green is later, is like fall, winter, or spring.
Oh.
So you come,
But it's not generally oppressively hot either, is it? In the Bay Area, doesn't it like get the hottest of about like 80 degrees? It never gets to like 100.
But really cold at night?
Where I am now, outside of the Bay Area, but only like 45 minutes drive from Golden Gate Park. It's shorts and t-shirt weather.
Wow.
At noon today, I will be at a concert in Golden Gate Park where I will definitely be wearing jeans. And come 8 o'clock, we'll need a second layer on top.
Really? That much
in the middle of summer?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
It's at least a 15-degree difference during the day between the bay and outside the bay. So
wow.
It's the way those vortexes and air currents work. It's magic.
Well, that is a great introduction to our illustrious cast this week. We have wonderful topics that we are going to discuss with you, and so here's the first. So, how about that debate? Apparently on Thursday night, the GOP, the Grand Old Party, the Republican Party, had its first debate for the new presidential campaign. Thoughts?
Well, first it had two installments. It had the warm up, as some people call it, the happy hour debate, the little kids table debate, the losers debate, the outsiders debate. But it was prior to there was two debates. The first one had 7 candidates speaking to an empty auditorium, sadly, but trying to hold face and argue their points. Everyone from your governors Jindal and former governors Pataki to your Carly Fiorini, former HP exec, and Senator Santorum and Governor Perry.
Carly Fiorina was a former HP exec?
Yep.
I thought that was Meg Whitman.
I don't know. I'm pretty. What did she? Why am I wrong? Someone look this up. The show is falling off now that I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. As Chief Executive Officer of Hewlett-Packard, you are right. But I think that also the Meg Whitman was also an HP exec. So maybe they've just had multiple female executives.
Why is she dancing over there, Michelle?
I'm dancing because Thom was right.
Thom was right.
Thank you. That's the kind of dancing I like.
Right.
So anyway, so they had a precursor debate to the, it's like the opening match on a title card bout of sorts, because then afterwards came the Royal Rumble where we had 10 men on stage.
The Royal Rumble!
Obfuscating. Now, interesting takeaways for this. The biggest winner from this debate, and I cannot believe I am saying this, and you've just got to follow me on this.
I'm just going to write this down, okay? I'm ready to write it down. Go ahead.
The biggest winner of the debate, and I was completely shocked by their performance.
Yeah?
Was the Fox News moderators.
Really?
Because let me tell you, you would assume it's Fox News. They're going to pick their ponies or whatever and just,
ride that horse.
And softball
Feed them carrots all night.
Yep.
Oh my God, they didn't let anyone off the hook. They were going after. Every candidate got at least one question that was directly to a major flaw in their viability.
So are you saying they were fair and balanced?
I'm saying they were sharpening knives.
Yeah.
It was. I have to commend them on at least having some. It's one of the more aggressive moderating panels I've seen in ever, maybe. So that was one reason why it might be worth to watch the debate, is just to see moderators not go, Governor Bush, you said before that you believe children are the future. Could you elaborate on that? None of that kind of crap. It was more of like, you have been pointed out in the past that you have trouble explaining your standings on would you or would you not go into the Iraq War. It has been 6 months since that half-ass answer. What is your stance now, knowing what you know? Well, just like, and he still was like,
But
Trump,
I must.
You've in the past have said very misogynistic things, like, and I quote, "They're all something pigs," blah blah blah. Do you still stand by such? It's like really like, boom.
Drop mic.
I was impressed. Were there any other winners? Maybe not. They were non-losers.
Yeah.
They were non-losers, I would say, but not really any winners.
So who would you say had a strong showing?
I want to say Rubio.
Okay.
I want to say Walker.
Okay.
Kasich won in that, not so much by what he said, but it was the first time I think people really seeing his face. And also he had the advantage of having a very friendly audience because it was in Cleveland, his home state. So, like, after he spoke, there would be a ruckus in the crowd. So it also kind of lent an air of strength to what's otherwise a very kind of middling campaign. So he kind of won in that way. Or he gained points, I should say, in that way.
So I'm looking at some things across the internet. I searched quickly, and it looks like Donald Trump had the longest talk time, as he may do.
Well, but he's pretty commanding as a speaker.
Correct. So
that's part of his charm, I think.
That's something that they have to deal with at a debate, though, is that there is going to be that his ability to talk over people, talk through people, and just talk. They're going to have to, like that. That's something they're going to have to practice. Especially Paul. Ooh, really? Was that Rand Paul?
Oh, yeah, Rand Paul and Chris Christie went at it.
Dang.
The two of them were not having each other, and that was so. There was a great exchange between the two of them where they were throwing barbs back and forth. Although the barbs were so ham-fisted, like
how did Bush go?
He did not do well.
I heard that he basically just sounded like he was spit polished and didn't say anything meaningful, and all he was doing was just trying to stay in the middle and stay afloat. He was just trying to ride the waves and not worry about it.
It looked
Maybe
like he was
there's a
drowning.
strategy.
I was surprised by Rand Paul pulling the because I just didn't think that would be his way of running. But maybe it's like I need to pick up some numbers because I don't know if he was the first one, but he definitely was the most vocal one to make reference to Chris Christie's hug of Obama, which I'm like, oh Jesus, really? If that's your beef with Christie, I don't. You need to read a little more, my friend, because there's probably more stuff you could find deep down.
Yeah,
they went at it over security, over telephone records. So there's a little bit of a face-off between those two.
And when you say telephone records, you mean the telephone records not being released?
Telephone records of government harvesting telephone records.
Right.
Sorry.
So the NSA stuff, yeah. Well, awesome.
I
And
highly recommend watching it. It's an interesting.
I was not able to do
show.
it. Was working and was unable to watch the debate. So I will pull it up on the YouTubes or whatnot and put it on my list of things to watch.
This just in. Washington Post has stated that Donald Trump has been disinvited to speak at the Red State event.
Oh yeah, that's the one in Arlington, or is it?
That is the one in Football Hall of Fame. Where's
And
that at?
he was uninvited. Wasn't that because of the misogynistic comments he made about Megan Fox?
Yes.
Megan Kelly.
Megan Kelly of
On
Fox.
Megan Kelly of Fox, where he basically said it was because she was menstruating that she was so hard on me.
Which is
Yeah.
Which is
it's
a
awful.
shit show.
It's awful on two levels. First off, no. And second of all, oh poor baby, you thought she was being mean to you? She was being aggressive with everybody. Why is everybody always picking on me? Because you pick on everyone else, you tool.
And it's also that thing where strong women, oh, she's a bitch.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Exactly.
Well, but there is a fine line between being combative about what you're trying to do, and that would be a bitch or a dick, whether it be a guy or a girl, and being aggressive and assertive. And I support people for being aggressive and assertive, but you can cross over that line to try and get somewhere, and you're just trying to hurt somebody. And that's where I wouldn't say that it's good. But I doubt that that's really what was going on here. He just likes to slander women, but he's a show, and it's all about the ratings, right? Isn't that what the
ratings?
Isn't that what the whole presidential debate is all about? Getting the ratings?
Yeah, essentially from the history, yes, to get the ratings, yes.
That's what it is.
You are correct, sir. Oh, by the way, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is in Canton, Ohio.
Oh, Canton, Ohio.
There you go.
Well, there you go. So speaking of, I don't know what we're speaking of, but as another topic, this is an awkward segue. The Fed is supposed to release word on whether or not it'll be making a move. Anybody paying any attention to the Fed?
First,
Sure.
I have no idea what you were talking about. And second, is this something that the president could have impacted or can impact?
Not directly. Not
Okay.
directly. But
Okay.
the Federal Reserve, is the people who do the interbank lending, and for quite a while, the Fed has been at virtually zero in its Fed funds rate. So the preferred rate from bank to bank is basically zero, which encourages the banks to basically do small interest moves, which are very safe moves in historical terms, and end up building up more and more capital in their reserves, which means that the banks are more solid and these kinds of things. But it also means that there's really no incentive for people to take risk. So,
or even save, because I mean, like, look at your, because the interest rate in your checking account or your savings account is based in part on that interest rate.
Good point.
right. So my point being there is that there is a talk of the Fed moving up its interest rate, only a quarter of a point, but starting the progress of moving the rate up. Just wanted to see if the room had thumbs up or thumbs down to that move. Okay, Michelle gives a thumbs up.
You're still seeing slow but meaningful job growth.
Yep.
In the latest quarterly report, I think it's all indications are. I mean, the question I think has been, they were going to do it this year. Now the question is, are they going to do it in December or early September? And I think it just seems like the tea leaves say September now.
Right. And that's what the street's talking about, is doing it in September. I think having a moderate interbank loaning rate encourages risk at the banks, which means that they have to look for higher yields in order for them to make enough money for their investors to be happy. And the only way to get higher yields is to have somebody doing something with the money. And right now they've kind of got all of their money in just money market, kind of very low risk kinds of investments, which make enough money for their investors to keep them happy and really doesn't foster growth on Main Street, right? It doesn't give small business loans. It doesn't give people investment capital to go out and try and do something. They just say, well, we're making enough money just kind of watching the clock tick, so let's just watch the clock tick. Why would we mess with it? So once you diminish that margin so they can't borrow money at 0 and lend it out at 2%, now the thing goes up to 0.5%, then they're only making 1.5%. That's not enough for them to keep their investors happy. So they go looking for higher returns.
And with a quarter, I've got a special guest who would like to say hello and
sure.
agrees with the
Oh my goodness.
Dynamite would also like to approve.
Hi, Dino.
Hi, Dynamite. You are Dynamite. Yeah.
He's
been
hanging out on my lap for a bit.
That's fantastic.
Speaking of, go ahead.
And I think, and I just was going to say, I think obviously a 0.25% increase is a fine start. You're not.
We've got to start.
You got to start, and I think it's fine. And then it's observe, observe, and move on.
Yeah,
right.
And what I'm hoping is that the American public or the media or whoever is not going to freak out by presenting us with, oh my God, and this happened as a result, because the cause and effect gets muddy. And
El Nino is to be blamed for the,
for the
transactions.
Right. So that's my only little fear. Hopefully unfounded.
Hopefully unfounded. So, speaking on to the next one is there has been quite a win this week. The finale of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. 3.5 million live views, which is a very big day for that kind of show. You don't see many shows that have that kind of viewership. But
you
it
don't
was
see
a
many
big
basic cable shows with that.
Right.
A basic cable 30-minute every day of the week show, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. Is it the end of an era? Is this the end of something that will go down in history?
I saw a funny to your comment. I think I saw a funny question. I saw a funny cartoon that showed some little mice coming out of their hole, and Jon Stewart. A pet's collar with the name Jon Stewart on it down in front of the hole, and the mice were coming out like sheepishly, and the mice were called Fox News. So I think that era may be starting, but maybe not, considering what I've just heard about the moderator.
So wait. So what are you saying by that cartoon? Is that Fox News is going to try and fill the role that Jon Stewart did?
No, that while the cat's away, the mice will play.
Oh, so the Fox News is going to run the show now that Jon Stewart's no longer available to call them on their crap.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, you got it exactly.
I think that there's going to be new people that pop in. What's his name that's doing Last Week Tonight?
The British
HBO.
guy.
The British guy is nailing it. John Oliver is nailing it. And I think that John Oliver is going to fill whatever role that Jon Stewart leaves. And I think that there's probably going to be one or two more hosts that jump in there.
Well, already there's a host. Maybe some folks are not fans, but I think Larry Wilmore has really caught his groove. And if you aren't watching it now, it was a little bit shaky the first few weeks, but they kind of solidified their formula. And you see some really great conversations going on that show.
So Larry Wilmore is taking over The Daily Show?
No, he's what took over Colbert's slot.
Okay. So the Colbert Report is closed as well?
Yeah, dude, that closed like last year, man.
Okay.
Because Colbert's taking over Letterman.
Got it. Right. So what is Jon Stewart going to do now that he's no longer doing The Daily Show?
Live.
Live, yeah. see his kids before.
Bless him.
In the afternoon when the sun's up.
Got it.
Yeah. So you said it was. Oh, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just so the is it the it's not I don't think it's the end of an era. It's the end of an element of an era, but I think it's been established this kind of approach to there's an audience now that demands not just to be entertained, but also to learn something through that entertainment.
Right.
Which is what I think that Daily Show and its writers, because also Jon Stewart's leaving. He was the face, but obviously there's a whole slew of writer staff.
Oh yeah.
And other correspondents, talent, on camera and off, who are going to continue that idea of you can be entertaining, but also inform people and help to shape opinion.
Right, and that's where John Oliver came from. He was a writer for Jon Stewart, right?
Yeah.
And so he flourished enough that he just started to do it on his own, and then grabbed a couple of the other writers to go with him. And so I think that all those writers that grew up in the Daily Show, and I think that the Daily Show and the Colbert Report, the Colbert Report followed the Daily Show, right? Because it was Craig Kilborn that did the Daily Show on E, and then it turned into a funny show when Jon Stewart took it over.
Don't dismiss Craig Kilborn's days of Comedy Central or of the cartoon Daily Show.
He did the Daily Show on E, right?
He did on Comedy Central.
Okay.
Or on the Comedy Channel, I believe.
Back before it was Comedy Central. So, but my point is that when Jon Stewart took it over, it kind of took to a new level of being both intellectual and funny. And that kind of reporting I enjoy so much more than straight intellectual or straight humor, right? Where you get a nudge of intellect and you get a nudge of comedy back and forth and back and forth. It's brilliant.
Here's where the ironic balance though needs to be struck, because one of the famous takedowns, and I was just reading the New York Times yesterday about it, was Jon Stewart's infamous takedown of what's his name, Kramer. Squawk Box,
Jim Cramer.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Cramer. And was basically taking down CNBC for pretending to be a business channel when in fact they were an entertainment channel, and saying that was dangerous. Now, obviously, the line of connection is more through when you're talking about a channel that's supposed to be potentially giving financial advice, but in reality is an entertainment channel. So you could say, well, John, then what's the problem with trying to be a news channel, but you're also entertaining as well?
Right.
So there is...
Well, but he's on Comedy Central, so at no point can you say he's really news. He's really an entertainment channel with a bit of news in it.
He wears it on his sleeve. And when asked to his face, he will just be like, I'm just a guy who says jokes. Come on.
Right.
So there's a little bit of that self-effacement. You're right.
Very true. Very true.
Yep.
Well, thank you for the years, John.
Yeah.
Thank you for the years, John. We look forward to the next chapter.
You said there were 3.5 million views?
3.5 million viewers.
And those were live views, because I know I have not watched yet.
Yep.
I'm going to be watching on the Hulu. And I wonder what when you calculate all those views, is that the era we've gone into? Who still watches live?
People do, because it's an event, because you can't live tweet anything you're not watching.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there is the whole tweet community. I forgot about that.
And speaking of Kramer, on CNBC they've been talking basically nonstop about Twitter, because Twitter released their numbers and that they said that they've got basically 200 million monthly active users, MAUs if you will, and those monthly active users haven't moved up for Twitter, even though they have for Facebook and all these other people, and that's the stagnating thing. And can Twitter make money? Can Twitter move if all they're going to have is 300 million monthly active users around the world?
The question is, have they made money? I thought they were still one of those people waiting for the I thought they were operating at a loss with the expectation that they were going to.
They're operating at a slight profit, but they are not paying down their debts, if that makes any sense.
Oh, okay.
So their day-to-day operations are profitable, but they can't sustain their debt without having some sweet deals, if you will.
Yeah.
Understandable.
So they've been talking about that on CNBC constantly, trying to understand the Twitter thing and why it works. But we will see. So in the history, 1988, NWA releases Straight Outta Compton. Didn't that happen last week?
Ha! Sort of. It happened on Saturday. That totally happened that many years ago. And also, the Social Security Act was signed this past week.
Oh, that's good.
I think.
Well, then that'll bring us to our random country of the week. Our random country of the week, I will see if anyone knows it, including Tom's knee.
Okay.
It turned this week. It turned 50 as an entity. 50 years old.
Okay. Do you have any more?
It is a city-state.
Yes.
Where the entire country is the inside the boundaries of one city and one country.
I can give a fact that Frank would give. Its
Go.
dialing code is 65.
That is correct.
That bastard.
Which I, in my life, have made a phone call with the dialing code of 65.
Oh.
Who?
Oh. I remember you being asleep on the couch.
Yes.
For a bowl game because you had just flown back. And
That's
it was
right.
about 12-hour difference time.
There it is.
So it was noon, but midnight for you. That would be Singapore.
Boom! There's our country of the week.
It turned 50 this week, huh?
Turned 50 as an entity. So. And the national animal is a merlion. Half mermaid, half lion.
That's
You lie.
amazing.
Isn't it? Look it up. Look it up, merlion.
Ah.
I had
Oh,
a
because
one
it's
look
called
that
the
up.
Lion City.
Right. Because as the
Ah.
story goes, the most prestigious hotel in town, the Raffles Hotel, had at one point, as the story goes, there was a lion in the basement of the Raffles Hotel. And so it is a city on the sea, and there was a lion that made a stoic story that people found in this hugely posh hotel, and therefore Merlion. There it goes.
Merlions, with a whole backstory that they tell the kids these days, and it's not one of those that they scare the kids. I love the stories that scare the kids too.
Yeah.
What are you drawing? A merlion.
A
It's really my
merlion.
most favorite animal ever.
Animal. There was this dentist who went and tried to kill a merlion, but he couldn't find it. That's wrong. Is it too soon?
Too soon.
Too soon.
But you must see.
But you must see. In my adventures on Hulu, and I have Netflix, and I have Amazon as well. So I go on lots of adventures. I have found this splendiferous show called The Supersizers. The Supersizers Go, and ... And they go to things like the Renaissance, and they go to 1950s, and they go to the 1920s. And they give you, while they're doing it, they dress in period pieces, and they eat period food. So much so that they have to go to like the doctor ahead of time to make sure that they're not going to die during that week. Because, for instance, there's some periods of history where they only ever drank beer. And for me, I didn't realize this. I'm a dummy, but I guess they gave children beer from the time that they went off of
Milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't safe to drink water a lot of the time, so drinking alcohol.
Yes.
Alcohol-related things.
sanitizing.
That's why in the America, this country truly was founded on rum, grog. Just being like it would be a lot lower alcohol than what we expect today, but people would get up in the morning, have some with their breakfast, go to work, at their work break, get ladled another mug of grog to have, and maybe have another on the way home. So it's actually interesting watching Ken Burns' Prohibition. They talked about how the introduction of whiskey into the U.S. and mass distribution, but the problem was that was such higher alcohol volume.
Right.
But this country had been inculcated on the whole practice of drinking throughout the day. but drinking this much more low alcohol grog. So suddenly, men and women were being introduced.
A lot of drunks.
Much stronger, potable.
Right, and they were used to drinking volumes and volumes and volumes.
Yep.
Maybe that's why Americans still like Bud Light. Not because it's good, but because you can drink volumes and volumes and volumes of it.
What was that great advertisement campaign? The argument over whether they liked it because it tastes great or because it was less filling.
Right.
Tastes great, less filling.
Who talks about a beer being less filling anymore? But that was still...
Right.
Yeah, good point. But you guys should go see if you can.
Right.
Supersizer.
And that's on who? That's on who's carrying that?
It's on Hulu,
and
it's under the British section of Hulu.
See, I salute Hulu for being really smart in snatching, and realizing they don't have as big a pocket. We said this before. They don't have as big a pocket as say Netflix or Amazon, but they're wisely snatching up all these British shows and airing them as first-run shows in America. Really,
wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So speaking of deep pockets and speaking of British shows, Amazon Prime has given virtually unlimited budget to the guys who were doing British Top Gear. Since they got fired from the BBC, they have basically been given unlimited budget to make whatever show that they wanted. They have been budgeted approximately £4.5 million per show.
Per show?
Each episode will have a budget of approximately $4.5 million.
I've never seen a single episode, so this means
Top Gear is brilliant. They do a good job of both being smart and funny, and
offensive,
and mildly offensive. Just offensive enough that they can get away with it.
Oh dear.
Yes, and being British, which is always entertaining to watch.
It makes it feel okay.
That's right. That's right. So I look forward to watching that, and I hope that you do as well.
I mean, I'm sorry, Joe. Just one thing: $4.5 million per episode, per show, and that's
per episode.
And that also gives them. Is that just for them to do stuff, or is that for their paychecks as well?
I don't know. I would imagine it's overall paychecks, but I don't know. I think it's probably just production value of the show.
Dang. Because those are some expensive cars they have to touch and
not always, but often, yes.
Often, right? Okay.
Yes. Sometimes they buy junk and destroy it, which is kind of the fun of the show. Is that they buy cars and blow them up?
Amazon, I've got a proposal. We've got 3 willing candidates here.
Yep.
Should you want to? We give us the chance to show you what we could do.
At a slight discount to those guys on British Top Gear.
Yeah.
Slight discount. Yeah, we'll give you 10% off of whatever it is that they're making.
Yes.
So have virtually as good a talent. Virtually as good a talent.
Yes.
I get it because we're virtual.
So let's see. Speaking of virtual, India this week tried to ban porn.
Oh, India tried to ban porn.
400 plus porn websites were attempted to be banned in India. Needless to say, the internet is a resilient creature, and porn is its lifeblood. So therefore, this did not work. End of story.
The internet is for porn.
Porn. Yes.
Yes.
As expressed in Avenue Q.
Yes. Well done, sir.
Seriously, if you look at every great technology that the internet has pioneered and really made work well, almost all of them were piloted through porn. Almost all of them.
That's how we roll, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Because there's lots of money to be made there. So that's what people put their energies on.
Well,
so then that takes us to other censorship, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm glad only India is censoring things, right?
Yes. Reddit is also censoring. They've decided to censor child animated pornography. Animated child pornography? Yeah, animated child pornography, not like the child's animated it.
Ah, got it, okay.
Yes. And, I mean, Well, that's great. It seems to have taken a long time. Where is this popular child animated pornography?
Isn't it in Japan?
Those Japanese, come on.
There was
made in
to explain
Japan.
because we were talking about this before we rolled. Japan in recent years finally, I believe so. In recent years, finally banned depictions of child pornography in manga, which is their little graphic novels, or anime, because it had been, even though they did have, laws against video depictions of sexual exploitation of children. It didn't apply to the written form, so then they finally passed it. So I find it fascinating that I'm surprised. For some reason, I've just figured maybe I don't know enough about. I don't understand the internet. I just assume like Reddit wouldn't have subreddits on it, but I guess they did.
They do.
Yeah.
There are subreddits on virtually everything.
Yeah.
I agree, Tom. I don't understand. No.
Virtually everything. And I think that we have discussed virtually everything here on our weekly podcast. What do you guys think? Have we virtually covered it?
You don't have to think like me.
Oh, you're just going to dive right into that. Well, you don't have to think about those things. I was going to get an agreement that we've virtually covered everything and then go into the whole, but you don't have to think like I think.
I see. Well, proceed, sir. My fault.
Okay. So is it a thumbs up? Would you say we virtually covered everything? Yes, thumbs up. So if we've covered everything, you know these things, but you don't have to think like me.
You don't have to think like me.
You don't have to think like me. And I don't think.
But we're going to ask you, as our listeners, as our patrons, as our individuals who make this show possible, to think. We ask you to think. .com.